Welcome back. Well, yes, we've got Chief Utumeteng. He's a member of the APC. He was also a member of that Ken Namani-led federal government's Committee on Constitution and Electoral Reforms. He joins us from our studios in Abuja. Good morning, Chief, and thank you for joining us today. Now, a lot has been going. Yeah, a lot has been going on in the country. Lots of people talking about right from the confirmation of the ministerial nominees, the handling of security challenges in the country. Even in your party, yesterday the DG of Progressive Governors Forum did highlight his concerns about what he thinks your party needs to get right internally if they need to lead the country right. So we'll see how much of all of those issues we can get you to respond to this morning. But give us your impression of how you think the affairs of state is being piloted at the moment. Are you satisfied with what you've seen so far?
Well, I think I am speaking for myself and airing my opinion. I'm not the spokesman of the APC, so whatever I say here is my personal opinion based on what I read out of situations. Well, all is actually not well in the country in terms of the insecurity of the country. It calls for the concern of every patriotic Nigerian, and it's a situation that one should not leave into the hands of government alone to solve. Insecurity in one zone technically amounts to insecurity in another zone. So all Nigerians have a role to play in support of what government is doing to see that lives and properties of people are secured in the country. To this extent, I think the government is trying its best to ensure this happens in this country. We know as a fact that this did not start in the present dispensation. It is an inherited problem from the 1999 dispensation up till now. So to some extent, the government is tackling a problem inherited from other governments that came before it. But to some extent, the situation has escalated. To my mind, I think the government will need to do more than it has done to ensure that the situation is properly and, in fact, pungently addressed so that one can move freely, travel freely. A situation whereby where you don't have a car, you jump into a public a cab, you are suspicious of both the driver and of everybody. It does not speak well of a nation called the giant of Africa. I think we need to all get involved in this matter.
So, Chief, I've been listening to you saying that these challenges have been inherited from 1999 dispensation up until now, albeit it has escalated. But, some of the members of your party have been to the previous ruling party, so many expect that they should understand or have a grasp, an appreciable, a healthy grasp of what the challenges are and should be able to come to the table with solutions. But now, why is it that, because, for instance, if you need to amend the Constitution and then handle or attack headlong that much talked about topic of state police, you have your members in the National Assembly, at least the leadership have their preferred candidates now. Why do you think that at this time they should be able to address that matter and let Nigerians exactly know why, if they don't want it, and why, if they want to attack that particular matter, addressing the country and doing something about whether or not the National Assembly is going to do something about the question of state police?
To be very candid, I want to emphasize the position I've taken right from when Obasanjo was the president of this country on the issue concerning state police. it is not necessary. It is an invitation to chaos. The state police is to be made up of, is it foreigners or Nigerians? It is to be made up of Nigerians. We need to change our attitude. The problem we have in the country is borders on change of attitude. It's not the number of policemen sent to a particular zone to maintain peace or to maintain order. It's our own attitude. Well, I have said, and for avoidance of doubt, that amending the Constitution to bring about state police is an outright invitation to chaos. Take, for instance, look at the elections, the recent elections, or elections that came before. The police, though are federal, were used to a very large extent by the state governors to achieve what they thought they could achieve. What is the difference? That you want to have a state police? No. I think we should allow the country to remain the way it is, and we try as much as possible to improve our attitude. It's the attitude of the man that brings out who the man is. So the call for that is unnecessary. After all, in our different states, or by the Constitution, the chief security officers of each state is the governor of that state. And the commissioner of police, by the ruling of the Supreme Court in a case I cannot immediately give the citation, I think it involved Tinubu a long time now. The Supreme Court said clearly that the state police commissioners are, to some extent, even though federal officers, are under the, take directives and instructions from the state governors. That is enough. That is enough. For instance, in a state where you have Party B controlling and the governor is allowed to control the state police, I think people will be chased up to their farms. Even if they run to their farms, people will be chased to those areas because they have absolute control and they give absolute instructions, and the state police will take absolute instructions.
Well, Chief, if I could jump in, but we've heard different perspectives from key members of your party. The views of the vice president's popular. People know that he thinks that you can't police the country size of Nigeria centrally from Abuja. You have different governors, even former Zamfara state governor and former head of the Nigerian governors forum. He says, look, if states think they can afford it, that was after the Senate, then 8th Assembly, held this security summit. He thought, look, if states feel they can afford it, by all means, and then those states who can't, they'll find a way around some of those things. So different members, different leaders in your party are in favor of that particular matter. So why does it then appear as though there are discordant tunes, no singular position to harmonize the views of members of your party on this matter?
Well, like I said, I am not the spokesman
I know that.
Of the party or for the party. These are my personal views. If it comes to a position that the party has taken a stand, and as a loyal party member, I will be bound by the decision the party has taken, because I cannot go outside what the party has decided. But for now, until that position is reached, I firmly believe that the security of the country is in the hands of everybody to assist the police, to assist the army, to assist the security agents, to ensure that all goes on well. That is my very candid opinion. But if it is otherwise, if I'm otherwise overruled by my party as a loyal party member, I will toe the line of the party.
Okay, let's look at it from this angle, Chief Attain. So the position that you are taking is that of, political interests and all of that, which is of course okay, and a number of other people have conversed the same. But if you look at this issue from the angle that people do not feel safe, and consequently they need to have security closer to them, how would you see that? I mean, right now you know that Southwest governors are trying to engineer something for themselves to secure the region. Southeast governors have already initiated something, and there's still that talk of community policing from, as far back as the first government of this Fourth Republic. So if we put all of these together, don't you think that looking away from the political interests and looking at the security implications, if we can put it that way, many people are not able to go to their farms. Many people do not feel safe going out. So how? What would you say? I mean, if we look at this security angle, this state policing issue from that perspective in particular?
It boils down to the same thing. Community policing. For instance, there is no local government council out of the 774 local governments provided in the Constitution. We do not have enough policemen or many policemen to secure lives and property. There is no village that is inaccessible. The police, in almost all the nooks and crannies, visit those areas. It is not, well, if the police, the community policing intended is to be supervised by the federal might, I mean by the federal government, one can say, go ahead. But if community policing means having a different set of policing as controlled by a different body other than the Nigerian police force, definitely it will not be good enough for the country. Having known and seen what actually is going on in some of these states of Nigeria. So I think to a very large extent, community policing is good if it involves the Nigerian police and perhaps the assistance of the traditional institution of our different communities. It is not when you bring people from that particular community that lives and property will be secured. But sometimes we bring people from such communities, they vent their initial anger, prejudice, and whatever on whoever they see under the pretext of doing a police job because they know themselves. It is good to some extent that if the community policing will involve people being sent to nearby localities and supervised by the federal government, it will be good enough. We are likely to have results out of that than leaving it exclusively under the control of the state. Apart from that, states in Nigeria, some states in Nigeria cannot pay staff salaries. Some local government staff have not been paid up till now. Pensioners have not been paid. The roads have not been graded. No single culvert constructed. No road, nothing, no infrastructural development in those areas. Coming to add what we are speculating is to increase the burden of the states. Is to increase the burdens of the burden of the state. Look at in Nigeria or in some states, the level of debt has risen up to the rooftops. To come and add that technically is to turn around to stress the federal government for a large allocations, which in most cases is not used for the purpose for which it is given. So
I'd like us to steer the conversation briefly away from security and talk about the president's cabinet. Nigerians waited, and it came. Now, not to say security is not important, but then this is another perspective to it. So Nigerians waited, the cabinet came, went through, the confirmation hearing, confirmation happened, the list has been sent back to the president according to the presidency, and Nigerians are clear on what they want. The issues that Nigerians need to be sorted, for example, security, the economy, and I can go on and on. So in the coming months, Nigerians have sort of set a short-term goal for the cabinet. So for the next 6 months, what do you think the drive, the agenda for this cabinet should be?
Well, thank you for this interesting question. I think to start with, I have to commend Mr. President for taking steps within a short space of time to nominate and send his nominees to the president for confirmation. I think it is good is a step in the right direction by the 9th Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that within 5 days, the 43 nominees were confirmed. And I hear, as we are here, I hear that portfolios have been assigned. If that being the case, if that is the case, we know it has been the intention of the president, and at least he manifested it in the caliber of people he has chosen to be ministers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. They are technocrats who are charged with the responsibility of navigating the Nigerian economy to the next level. From my assessment of some of those nominees that I know, if not all, I think it's a step in the right direction. Nigerians should be hopeful. We should expect, as they go into action, results, positive results will come that are likely to turn the country around for good. So I think within the next 6 months, after taking a little time to settle down, to arrange themselves, we should expect the economy of the country to be directed to the destination the president wants it. And like I said, the Senate, the 9th Senate made history. They avoided the old lackadaisical attitude of the 8th Senate that within 5 days, ministers have been confirmed. If ministers have been confirmed within 5 days, and perhaps under 5 days again, the president has assigned portfolios, it shows the seriousness of the present administration to hit the ground running. So we should expect, we should be hopeful. We can project into the future with some level of certainty that with the speed now embarked upon by all, we should expect some positive results.
Speaking about, in reference to what the DG of the Progressive Governors Forum highlighted yesterday, how do you see party members who may not like the nominees that came from their states, how do you see them moving on? I know that in your state, for instance, the two groups were at each other, and then a different person entirely came in, but there are those who have even said, he wasn't even there when the parties were fighting for the president to win, and how could they bring him from where he was to come and become a minister? So there are those who are not happy. How do you see them handling this?
Well, it's all about the struggle for power and position. You don't expect 100% acceptance or agreement from members of the party. Even where you pick members, ministerial nominees are coming from the party, still, because of the struggle for power, some members of the party will still remain disgruntled. And so it is not a situation whereby one should expect 100% endorsement. The president has taken his time, he has done his own research, and he has said to the country that he wants to pick ministers, not necessarily within the APC family, but who are Nigerians, technocrats who will assist him realize the economy of this country. That he has done. I think I have to commend him for that. As it relates to my state, I do not think what the president did is wrong, because the nominee of the president cannot be said to be an outsider of the APC. He had been a member of the APC, a silent contributor to the APC pause and development. And you know as a fact that, for instance, in my state is Cross River State, the infighting has been so terribly intense, the bad blood has been so enlarged, and the factionalization so seriously pronounced. Like I said the last time, if the president went ahead to pick his nominee from any of the two contending factions, then he should have been writing celebrating the obituary of the APC in Cross River State. What he did, absolutely correct. It is now left for the neutral person some of us have canvassed for, to sit down with the party and put the party in order and all interests to be protected. It is not a situation, it does not call for a situation whereby one is appointed a minister and he thinks he can further the factionalization in the party or deal with only those who are members of his own party. The nominee in my state has a responsibility, a very, very big responsibility, and the earlier that is started to, the earlier it starts to ensure that peace returns to the party, better for the party. Otherwise, the nominees by Mr. President, to my mind, are people of integrity, and they are people who, not necessarily coming from the APC, even if they are coming from the APC, they are people who have been tested, trusted, and should be given the opportunity, and above all consideration, all members of the APC family should support whoever Mr. President has nominated, because sometimes we say the state can make no wrong, and the state is as controlled by Mr. President. And not only the people, APC members, all Nigerians should give the nominees the benefit of doubt to ensure that we get results out of their nominations.
You know, as we wind down on this one, the concerns raised by, the Secretariat about how your party needs to steady the ship, the question of forgiveness, internal democracy, reconciliation within the party. They think that, look, if these issues are not addressed, and then, who knows now, add to that equation, the challenge, or do I say, well, the tussle for 2023, which people think has already begun in your party. They think that you're making the mistakes, in their own words, the mistakes that the previous ruling party made, and if you don't correct that, you just may go south. Do you share the same view?
Well, thank you. I think you are giving indirectly a charge, or you are reading my mind. The national chairman of the APC has a responsibility, in fact, a serious responsibility, to show that after elections, he will sit down to arrange the party in preparing the party for the next election, because it is often argued that the end of one election is the beginning of the strategies for the end of one election is the beginning of the planning of strategies for the next election. I want to use this very opportunity to say wholeheartedly that, seeing my national leader, Comrade Adams Oshimole, I will challenge him to his face that all is not well in our party, and he should sit down, settle down, and come out with the modalities on how to improve the relationship of members in the party. All is not well. And the earlier he settles down to ensure that he addresses this issue, the better for the party. The president should not be distracted from the performance of executive functions. He is the head of the party. He should sit down and ensure he reconciles all those who have issues. I know in every political party, not only in APC, up to other political parties, after congresses and primaries, there are bound to be issues that are to be resolved by the leadership of the party. A situation whereby APC as a governing party at the national level could forgo a whole state, Zamfara state, because of factionalization, it does not speak well of the leadership of the party, because they have not handled that position from the beginning in such a manner that it can douse tension. So if there's anybody who is to account for the failure to my mind, and I say it pungently, that I hold Comrade Adams Oshimole responsible for that.
All right, Chief Utumateng, a member of the APC and a member of that Kenan Amani-led federal government's committee on Constitution and Electoral Reforms. Thank you for coming on this morning. All right, we're back in a moment. Stay with us.